Between 1968 and 1985, the hills around Florence, Italy became the hunting ground for a predator, or perhaps predators, who stalked young couples in secluded locations. The media dubbed the culprit the Monster of Florence. He struck in lovers' lanes under the cover of night, leaving behind mutilated bodies, unanswered questions, and a still open file. Over nearly 2 decades, at least 8 double murders, 16 victims, a missing .22 caliber handgun, and no definitive culprit. This is the story of the Monster of Florence. Every known lead, every major suspect, every theory that could finally explain the horror. Between 1968 and 1985, the hills around Florence, Italy became the hunting ground for a predator, or perhaps predators, who stalked young couples in secluded locations. The media dubbed the culprit the Monster of Florence. He struck in lovers' lanes under the cover of night, leaving behind mutilated bodies, unanswered questions, and a still open file. Over nearly 2 decades, at least 8 double murders, 16 victims, a missing .22 caliber handgun, and no definitive culprit. This is the story of the Monster of Florence. Every known lead, every major suspect, every theory that could finally explain the horror. The earliest murders attributed to the monster occurred on 21 August 1968. The victims, Barbara Locci, 32, and Antonio Lobianco, 29, shot dead in their Alfa Romeo near Signa. Their 6-year-old son in the back seat survived, running for help. Over the next years, the killings appeared sporadic until a clear pattern emerged. Parked couples in secluded woods, shot with a .22 caliber handgun, then often stabbed and mutilated. For example, on 15 September 1974, Pasquale Genticore, 19, and Stefania Pettini, 18, were killed while parked near Borgo San Lorenzo. The woman's body was disfigured with 97 stab wounds. Investigators realized the murders shared alarming similarities: lovers' lane setting, weekend nights, woods, .22 handgun, female-targeted mutilations. A deeper look at the MO. The weapon: a .22 caliber Beretta handgun firing Winchester Series H bullets. Ballistic analysis linked numerous crime scenes. Victim profile: mostly young couples, often Italian, sometimes foreign tourists, parked cars or tents, secluded woods around Florence. Female victim mutilations. In many cases, the female victim suffered excision of the left breast or pubic area. For example, in October 1981, the woman's pubic region was removed with a notched knife. Taunting letters and body part packages. After the 1985 murder of foreign couple Jean-Michel Krevachvili and Nadine Moreau, an anonymous envelope arrived at the Florence prosecutor's office, containing a breast flap cut from Moreau's body. Scene locations: dirt roads, wooded tracks, rural Tuscany, victims found in cars or tents. Notably, the last recognized murders, Sept 1985, involved camping rather than parking in a car. Forensics and errors. Many crime scenes were mishandled, chain of custody broken, evidence lost or contaminated. The infamous 1968 scene had shell casings improperly stored. Altogether, this body of evidence shaped the belief that a single killer, or at least a coordinated group, was responsible. But the missing weapon and the mounting mistakes kept the case open. For nearly 25 years, the investigation advanced in waves. Here are the major suspect phases. The Sardinian Trail, late 1970s, early 1980s. Italian police focused on Sardinian suspects after discovering links to the 1968 murder. One of the earliest suspects was Stefano Mele, the husband of Barbara Locci. He was convicted for the 1968 murders, but subsequent double murders occurred while he was jailed, invalidating his sole culpability. Pietro Pacciani and the Snack Buddies, 1990s. Farmer Pacciani was arrested in 1994, convicted in 1994 for several murders, but acquitted on appeal in 1996, and died in 1998 before retrial. He claimed innocence. Meanwhile, two alleged accomplices, Mario Vanni and Giancarlo Lotti, were convicted in 2000 for part of the murders, but many experts believe they did not cover all crime scenes. DNA and recent developments, 2010's 2020s. In 2022, families of victims pressed for reopening the case based on newly uncovered DNA evidence. A CBS News report in 2023 noted newly discovered DNA could shed light on the Monster of Florence case. Investigation mistakes and controversy. According to All That's Interesting, many interviewees and journalists claim the key suspect was never caught, and police repeatedly followed false leads. Despite thousands of hours, numerous arrests, and several convictions, the real identity of the Monster of Florence remains officially unsolved. What really happened? Investigators, journalists, and authors have formulated several major theories, each backed by interviews and statements. Theory A: lone killer. Some lead investigators believe one man, highly skilled, committed all murders. Evidence: similar ballistics across crime scenes, consistent MO. But problem: why so many murders over decades without capture? Theory B: network or accomplices. Journalist Mario Spezzi and others argue that Pacciani had accomplices, the snack buddies, and the murders were orchestrated by a group rather than a single predator. Spezzi's book, The Monster of Florence, covers this deeply. Theory C: ritualistic, occult motives. Some trials allege that part of the motive was occult. Body parts taken for ritual, clandestine gatherings, wealthy patrons commissioning murders. Theory D: copycats and mistaken identity. Some experts argue evidence mishandled. Multiple killers or imitators might have engaged in murders, complicating a single killer theory. These theories fuel public fascination, but also highlight the investigation's flaws and the enduring mystery. The Monster of Florence has left a deep imprint on Italian culture and beyond. The case inspired books, documentaries, podcasts, and most recently the Netflix series, The Monster of Florence. According to Entertainment Weekly, the series brought renewed attention to the case in 2025. EWW.com. The crimes also changed public behavior. Lovers' lanes got warnings. Local authorities in the 1980s distributed leaflets advising couples to avoid parking in secluded woods. Britannica notes that this case altered how Italians perceived rural discretionary spaces. Wikipedia: the families of victims still press for answers. CBS News in 2022 reported they want the case reopened and trust renewed in the investigation. CBS News: the case remains a cautionary tale of how investigative mistakes and obsession can shape legacy, ecological terror, cultural memory, and collective fear in what was once idyllic countryside. Understanding Italy. How many victims? At least 16, perhaps more. Who the killer or killers are remains unknown. How many missing pieces of evidence? Too many to count. The .22 Beretta handgun, never recovered. The body parts mailed to authorities, a brutal taunt. The mutilations, a signature of horror. The suspects, arrested, released, convicted, acquitted. The truth, still out there. The Monster of Florence may never be brought to book. But the story serves as a chilling reminder that evil can hide in the most picturesque places, and that sometimes the greatest crimes are the ones we never solve. If this story gripped you, subscribe for more deep dives into unsolved cases. And tell us in the comments, which theory do you believe? The lone predator, the network of killers, or the ritual cult? Until the final answer comes, the hills of Tuscany still echo with unanswered screams.